Rose's entrance is so freaking iconic. Would you want to just go down with a ship? I don't think so. Like, Manny wants to say hi. Wait. If you're ever in a room where you feel like you don't belong, just act like you do, and people will believe you. What's up, guys? I'm back at it again with another Leonardo DiCaprio movie review. Ah, man, how do I talk about one of the best movies ever made? I mean, outside of this whole Leo series I'm doing, just one of the best movies ever made. And Titanic, you know? So I'm not gonna say this was my first time watching it because duh, like this can't be my first time, right? But I've definitely watched it recently to just kind of brush up on things. The movie is 3 hours and 10 minutes or 3 hours and 16 minutes, depending on what version you get. And gosh, it doesn't feel that long. Like, it feels long, but every single moment is interesting. And James Cameron, I just can't say enough about him. He wrote and directed this. He is like the epic guy. He makes these epic movies. He also did Avatar and Avatar 2, and I just love those movies, and I just think that he has perfected these movies where you go in and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna be here a while, but it's gonna be worth it, and the story is gonna be so full. And he talks about how he doesn't care. It doesn't start on the boat. It starts of these people basically mining for money. So they're trying to find this necklace called the heart of the sea, heart of the ocean. And they want that. They want to bring it up off the ground so they can sell it and make money, right? And that whole sequence of them like going down there and like just kind of making their little robot move through all the rubble and all this stuff, you know, on the bottom of the ocean. That's probably like 20 to 30 minutes and you don't feel it. And it's just like, I feel like I heard James Cameron say that, he's like, yeah, they told me, you know, can we cut that scene and cut to it? And he was kind of like, I don't care if it feels like it's too long. I want you to immerse yourself into the experience. I want you to feel like you're in it. But Titanic is a story of, it's fictional history. So this is a ship, obviously, that went down April 12, 1912. It was supposed to be an unsinkable ship, and it just, you know, it hits an iceberg and it goes down. And when you see it on a paper, you're like, man, that's a tragedy, right? And how they make it more interesting is they have a romance story that's blossoming in the middle of all this stuff that really happened. And it's the romance is fictionalized, but the whole story is the event is real. And we have Leonardo DiCaprio as Jack Dawson and Kate Winslet as Rose. And so the people that I'm talking about, they go down there and they think that they are gonna find this diamond and be rich, but they find a photograph of a drawing that someone drew. And they're like, we need to find the chick we need to find this chick so we can figure out where the diamond is. So they go to this like 90-year-old, 101, the woman who's 101, and they're like, do you know where the necklace is? And she's like, that was so long ago. And they're like, oh man. She's like, wait, do you want to hear my story? And they're like, okay. So like, so long ago, and I can still smell the paint. This was Leo's breakout role, right? Like, this was Leo's probably arguably biggest role. You know, he'll forever be young, even though he's been in great movies as an adult. But this made him globally famous. But this also made Kate Winslet, like, this was her big break too, because they're both so aligned. And her story, Rose, It's a classic story of upper class and lower class. We just saw my review of Romeo and Juliet, and although you guys know how I feel about that movie, the story has lasted all these centuries because it's they're not supposed to be together and they get together is always going to be compelling for humans. I don't know why, but it just always is. And Rose, she's in a family, she's upper class, she's first class. So Titanic, the people on Titanic were separated first, second, and third class. Kind of how it is today, right? You have your upper class, middle class, lower class. And the upper class, the first class, they got the best quality. Now, everybody who was on that plane, everyone who was on that ship was so lucky to be there, and you're gonna get an experience of a lifetime being on the boat, right? But the first class people, I mean, they have like marble tables to eat off of, and they have room service, and they have, you know, people to take their bags and things like that. Rose's entrance is so freaking iconic. Like, every time I see the movie, I'm like, kill it, girl, kill it, kill it. And she's supposed to be married to this guy that she doesn't like, and, you know, future Rose is like, everyone thought Titanic, you know, this is gonna be the best experience of their lives, but for me, I felt like I was on prison. You know, she has to marry this guy that she doesn't want to, because we soon later figure out that her family is broke, and they're playing like they have good money, but the dad died and left them in debt. So her and her mom are like trying to keep it hush hush that they don't really have this money, but they have the name, you know, that's upper crust. And on the flip side, we have Jack, who is he's just living day by day. You know, he doesn't know what's gonna happen the next day, and he is gambling with his friends, playing a game, and he actually gets Titanic tickets literally 5 minutes before they take off. You know, this guy is just by the way he dresses, you know, he's third class. He has, throughout the whole movie, he's such a symbol of freedom and liberation and just hopefulness. You know, he's happy to live his life not knowing what's going to happen the next day. His parents died, but you know, he's a fighter. You know what I'm saying? It's not like woe is me. It's like, man, the earth is so big and beautiful, and I can go explore it all. So they're on different sides of the world. How could this ever be? Now, before I had the wherewithal to watch this movie all the way through, I would always get bits and pieces of the movie and kind of get the gist of the story. But I recently watched it for the 25th anniversary. So I was able to watch it in theaters, which, you know, I wasn't even alive when this movie came out. So to be able to watch it in theaters was such a special experience. But I had no idea that Rose was so distraught that she was going to attempt suicide. Her life is so planned out, and she knows the life that she's going to be expected to lead, and she wants to scream and break out of it, but she just doesn't know how, which is very relatable. You know, you don't have to be like a rich upper crust person in an arranged marriage to feel that way. Like, she goes to the front of the ship and she just literally climbs over and is standing off of it, like contemplating jumping. I did not know she was suicidal. And Jack sees her, and that's kind of how they meet. You know, he's like, don't do it. And she's like, leave me alone, I don't know who you are. So he comes up with this whole story like, you know, if you fall, like, I'm gonna have to jump in and get you, and I really don't want to get wet tonight, but you'd leave me no choice. And that's an interesting, like, meet cute, right? Like, when we see, like, romance stories, it's usually the stakes aren't this high. This is, like, literally dark in life and death for her to jump off this thing. She ends up not, and to thank him, her fiance invites him to dinner, right? And this is gonna be embarrassing for him because these people dress a certain way, you know, the men have this upper crust look and they have to hold the woman on their right hand and their left hand behind, and like there's just this code. You know, you've been around people who you're just not in the same class as them. Doesn't mean if they're higher or lower or whatever, but you just know that there's just things that you just can't foresee before going to dinner with someone or just being in that situation, and it can be very awkward. This other lady, like, thank God, she's like, she's one of the new money people, so she understands how to talk. She's had her foot in modern world and she knows how the world really is, so she hasn't been with these posh people all her life. So she tells him, like, come on, you don't even know what you're gonna wear, they will eat you alive, so basically I'll help dress you up. But this guy is just so confident. He's so confident and he has so much conviction in who he is that he's like, okay, all right. And there's like a little spark between them. We've all talked about this chemistry, right, between Kate Winslet and Leonardo DiCaprio. You know, everyone wants them to really be a couple because their chemistry is so good. When two people are so comfortable together, I just feel like they're so comfortable. Leo himself said they just got on really well, really quickly. And the way he looks at her, I mean, there's just such intensity and focus. They both have this chemistry and this trust, you know, throughout the whole movie. That was just so incredible to watch. I love how we get to see how he's kind of like, man, I don't really belong here, but I do look good. And he's all dressed up and he's looking at the other men and seeing what they're doing. Future Rose like talks about how he must have been nervous, but he just played it like he was supposed to be there. And they didn't even recognize him when they first saw him that night because they're like, we thought you were gonna come in rags, literally, embarrassingly. But he came and he even talked at the dinner and was just like himself, completely himself, even when they were very condescending towards him. You know, he was just completely himself the whole time. And it's just a funny kind of thing in life where if you're ever in a room where you feel like you don't belong, just act like you do and people will believe you, because perception is reality really, in this world. He was like, he invites her slickly to this little after party they have on the third deck, and she goes and they dance and they have this great time, and she becomes more of herself. Like, it's almost like she unlocks a part of herself that she had given up, like almost like when she was a child. You know, when you're a young girl, you're allowed to do things, you know, you're allowed to be a certain way, you're allowed to run and get dirty and all this stuff. But as soon as you hit like a certain age, you know, people expect you to like be more ladylike. This is just in real life, and people expect you to be like more mature and all this stuff. And that's just the societal pressure, right? And that's exactly what she had to do. So when she's down there, she got to just let it all out. And this freaking guy, her fiance is, I don't even know who he is or what he is, this worker. He's like some ex-cop or something, because he was on them the whole movie. And he, you know, snooped around, found her. So the next morning, her fiance is like, you will not embarrass me, Rose. I can give you everything. You know? So he's like, this guy's poor, I'm rich, I'm better, you know? Very arrogant dude. And I can't, like, I've never seen this guy, the fiance, in another role, because I feel like he's so iconically, like, a villain. He's so good at being the villain. And there's no part of him that's likable. I mean, sometimes he's funny or a little snarky, but I mean, that's just after watching this movie many times and just trying to be an empathetic person, but he's a piece of trash. Trash! She changed her mind. She realized, you know what? I do want to be with Jack, which is crazy because, like, she has this whole life on the ship with her family and the fiance, but like every time she's with them, she's just like I hate being here. And she's just thinking about when can she see Jack again. He's like, I wanna make sure you're okay. And he's not saying that to just say that. I mean, think about where he met her. He met her literally about to jump off the ship, you know? So he knows how unhappy she is. So he's really concerned about her health. He's concerned about her well-being. And mental health and all that stuff was not big. And I think it's just easy to like skim over that part of the movie because that just never clicked with me. But like, she was literally suicidal. Anyway. And then we have that iconic scene, man. I remember, wait a minute. Come here. You want to say hi? Oh! Manny wants to say hi. Wait. Say hi. Say hi to the people. Hi. Yeah. Okay. He's obsessed with this part of the mic. Like, he literally will eat it off. That iconic scene where he tells her to close her eyes. She's at the top of the thing. And she, like, you know, does that thing that everybody does. And what makes that part so amazing, one, the sunset. Two, the music. Like, everyone always talks about the song My Heart Will Go On. Justified, you know, like, that is a heartbreaking song. But when we talk about the score of the whole movie, it was just that luscious moment. James Horner, I just felt like he did a fantastic job, and it just evokes the emotion of the whole movie, but especially that scene. So yeah, and then they kiss, and they basically like, when we get off this boat, we are going to be together. Though, how is that gonna happen? We don't know. But again, we are cheering for it. I just feel like almost every other line is just an iconic line because this is how big this film is. As they're messing around and stuff like that, we hit the iceberg. So outside of the love story, right? We know that this is this massive ship, right? And it's supposed to be this also beautiful ship. So the person who made it, I forgot his name, but the person who designed the ship, you know, Rose even was like, you know, there doesn't seem to be a lot of lifeboats on this. And he's like, yeah, there's not enough. I wanted to have more, but they said it would look too bulky. So they have less than lifeboats and they have people. Now we know what's gonna happen. We know, we're watching this because we know the thing sank. But just to like hear the mentality of like, this isn't gonna sink anyway, we want it to look good. And then there's the thing that kind of did them in. They wanted to get there faster. They wanted to get to New York faster than anticipated because they wanted to make big headlines. So they revved up the engine faster than normal. So they were going faster than they really needed to show off. They don't have as many lifeboats as they need to. I mean, what could go wrong? And one night, they're like, it's cold out here and there's glaciers. And with how fast we're going, they tell the captain, with how fast we're going, it's going to be hard to like go around it. If we catch one, it's dark and it's going to be hard to see them. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to bed, whatever. Just as we know, iceberg comes up and they see it and they're like, oh my gosh, we have to turn around it. But because they're going so fast, they don't have time to completely clear it. And it chips the lower side of the Titanic. And mayhem ensues. What makes this movie so memorable is that it's like a full romance, right? It's a full romance and a full tragedy. So we just hit the climax of the romance, right? And for some movies, that's when it would end. Like, these two lovers come together from different backgrounds, and yay, happily ever after. And then there's this tragedy, which to me is more impressive. And every time I turn the TV on and Titanic's on, I always catch this part of the movie because this part is so long and drawn out for good reason. And there are movies that I can detach my brain from. I'm like, okay, you know, they're acting, it didn't really happen like that, blah, 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 blah. But this is the one movie, or one of the best examples, that I can say, like, it just feels so real. Like, the way they're just dying. Like, I don't know how else to say it. Like, the way this was filmed, it kind of goes into a thriller. The women and children get to go on the boats first. So they start lowering people, but they don't even fill out the whole boat. They don't even fill out the whole lifeboat. You know, they're just like rushing to get as many people off. And it doesn't even seem like they have a routine way of going about it. It's just like, we just got to get people in the boat, and there's so much chaos. It's as if they didn't prepare at all for in the event of an emergency, right? I mean, every time you go on a plane, there's a plan for in the event of an emergency, and they just had no idea what they were doing. So that you feel the chaos of the whole situation, and there's this drama of like the heart of the ocean, Rose's necklace, is missing. And the bad guy, her fiance, the villain, who knows that they're together now, what's crazy is they literally walk into the room holding hands, Jack and Rose. Like, they make this so clear that, like, she's moving on. And this is what the guy doesn't want, for her to embarrass him publicly, right? So, him and his cop friend, assistant, whatever, kind of do a thing to make it seem like Jack stole the necklace, and he didn't. So they put him in the jail not below deck, but in the lower level, and they locked him in there. So he's literally down there, and everyone's like, there's mayhem going up because everyone's trying to get to the top of the ship to get off the ship. And Rose is like, I'm not going on the boat. Like, where's Jack? Where is Jack? And she goes down there, and the water's starting to build, y'all. And this is cold, cold water. I have the opportunity, and this is one of the experiences I'm just so grateful for. I got to see a Titanic replica in Tennessee. And it was just such an experience to, like, literally see what the quarters look like for the third class and the second class and the first class, and the type of people who were on the ship, and people's actual stories, little kids who were there and just didn't make it out. And but one of the biggest things I'll remember, you get to feel that water. There's like a whole tank thing where you get to feel how cold it was. And y'all, it was 28 degrees, so -2 Celsius. Like, it was like just below freezing at night. And like, I put my hand in that thing. Imagine your whole body going into it, okay? So as the water is rising, Rose goes down there, and she is so determined. Like, even the workers are like, we need to go up, we need to go up. And she's like, I need to get to him. I'm doing this with or without you. So she finds him, and she gets him out. So they're like trying to get up the thing. Meanwhile, the rat of a fiance, he's making deals with the boat guy, like, make sure I'm gonna be one of the guys to get on this thing, because the ship is starting to go down really fast, and he's trying to weasel his way out and getting on, which shows you, like, when you're in a crisis, who you really are, what your heart is. When you're about to die, when you're faced with death, what are you willing to do? And this man literally grabbed a child who was not his, so he could get on the boat. He can get on a lifeboat. That's how crazy, that's how weak he is. He was willing to do that just to get on the thing, but also human, like, would you want to just go down with a ship? I don't think so. Like, you would try to get on that boat too. They finally make it to the deck, Rose and Jack, and Rose goes down. She gets on a lifeboat, and they're like, okay, you'll be okay, but this is one of my favorite scenes. This is always my favorite scene. Like, Because when I look at couples in movies and I'm like, is this one-sided? Does one love the other more than, and would this work? But when they're both willing to sacrifice, when they both love each other as much as the other, it's just beautiful to see. And she looks up at Jack as she's being lowered and she sees, I don't even know what, it's up for interpretation, but to me, she could see in his face that like, he's not gonna be okay. Like, she doesn't want to just get off free and him just die, So she jumps off the lifeboat onto the boat. Oh man, it's one of my favorite scenes, bro, because that sacrifice just showed me that they were linked, and she's like, if you jump, I jumped. I remember crying to that. Like, it was just so beautiful, and it's shocking because you think, oh, she's gonna get off. She jumps back on, So although all this mayhem is happening like within an hour or the last hour and a half of the movie, it just goes by so fast. The one who designed the ship is going down with the ship. The captain is gonna go down with the ship. I feel like that's a law. I don't know if it was a law back then, but I feel like it's a law. Like, so you basically are just gonna go down with the ship. And he just stands there and we literally see the water just come in on him. And the look of death, like the look of like just knowing that it's over. And then the boat starts like going like this. So it was like this, it doesn't just sink down, it starts sinking like this and it starts pulling people up. So people are sliding and falling down into this cold water. Cold, bruh. Like, and people are just dying left and right. There's screams. The quartet that's usually playing music, I mean, when they start playing whatever that song is, when it's like very solemn, they're gonna break up and go like, it was an honor to play with you guys. And then one of them plays this somber song and then they're all like, nah, screw it, like, we're doing this together. Like, that camaraderie between the musicians is just like heartbreaking. You see people like with a priest just praying because they know they're going down. Like, you feel like you're here. And I keep saying heartbreaking, but like doesn't mean like it's so sad that you can't watch it. Like, it's just so beautiful. I guess because I'm a history buff, how realistic it looks and how like this didn't have to happen. And I think that's the emotional part, is like, it did not, they could have had enough lifeboats. This didn't have to happen. They didn't have to get there 2 days earlier than planned just to look cool, like 1,500 people died, like just died. So they get in and they're in the water and Jack finds this door piece for her. Here we go. The age-old question. Do I think Jack could have fit on that door? It's been said, it's been commented on Rose herself. It's been non-commented on Jack himself. Here is Courtney's point of view. No. He could not have fit on it. He tried. He ain't fitting on this thing. There's no way without them going down. There's no way. She could have fought, but no, I don't see it. Jack tries to get on the thing and the thing like tips over. It's about buoyancy. It would not float right if they both got on it. And even if they could have fit on it, right? I don't know if y'all have ever been to Great Wolf Lodge or a water park where you're in like deep water and you have to get onto a tube or you have to get onto like a big floaty thing. It's hard. If you don't have like muscle, if you don't have like good sense of your body to get on something like that, it's so hard to do in water. Now imagine doing that in like freezing cold water. You're also traumatized. You're also like panicking, and the colder you are, just the harder it is to just keep getting on and falling off, getting on and falling off. So like for me, part of it was like, Jack, that's a lot of work. Like, they've done a lot of work. I talked about how they went back to lower level, got back up, back again, got back up. Like, they're tired at this point. And this is a real man. He said, Rose, get on. You just get on. They're waiting for this boat, and he's holding on. And he gives the greatest speech, you know. He's like, you don't say your goodbyes, but you're gonna go old one day. You're gonna die an old lady in a warm bed. You're gonna have lots of kids. He's speaking life into her. And he's like, getting on this boat and meeting you was the best thing that's ever happened to my life. And you're just like, no way, no way. They've escaped death so many times. The way they've gotten to this point, you just believe that a boat is gonna come back and save them. You just feel like they're gonna make it. And the boat does come back, and they don't make it. The boat comes back, all the people are dead around her. And she falls asleep or something, and by the time she wakes up, she's like, Jack, they came back. And he is a popsicle. Guy froze to death. Gosh, thinking about it now, man. I know, like, there's so many people who want to get so much information on that Titanic and have people get interviewed. And a lot of people who were kids during that time later got interviewed, you know, about their experience. If I was an adult and I really was like, I lived that, I don't think I could ever speak of that. And maybe that was the first time that the older Rose spoke of it, because that is just so traumatic. Like, I can't even imagine the trauma that, you know, the real people who survived went through and saw. Probably like all their fathers died, uncles, you know what I'm saying? Like, just tragic. The movie is about that story. It is about the story of the Titanic and how this didn't have to happen. But of course, on the outside, she's telling this story because they want to get this necklace. Actual Rose knew where the freaking thing is, and she dropped that million, whatever, how much it was gonna cost. She dropped that thing in the ocean. I guess in her mind, like, hopefully it touching Jack in some way. And they're like, man, what a story. Like, I never let it hit me like this. Like, you think about, oh man, people died on the ship, but when you watch the movie, you feel it. And when I went to this Titanic replica, you get to draw whatever random person, like every person's assigned a person, and then you go through kind of what your person's journey was, and at the end you get to see if your person lived or died. And yeah, like, just so you feel like you're there. It's just one of the best experiences I've ever had. I recommend you do that if you're a traveler or you like history and stuff like that. You look no further than the movie, you feel like you got that experience. It's just so real and heartbreaking tragedy. And that's the end of the story. I knew James directed it, but I did not know he wrote and directed it. What a mind. Again, a long movie, but an incredible epic. A full love story, full meet cute, full will they won't they love story, a full tragedy. There's two Leo movies that I feel like when I look at him and the characters, I just feel like they're one. And Jack is the first character that I saw where I was like, no one else in the world could have played it the way he played it, with this freedom and all this stuff. And then Jay Gatsby, I just feel like that is also a version of him that he just, character, actor, just became one. And that's one of the movies that, like, you gotta watch before you die. Sorry to be morbid, but you gotta watch before you die. You will not be disappointed, I promise you. Like, you might cry a little bit, but sometimes we need a good cry because it was that good. All right, so that's my review of Titanic. I mean, there's nothing else to say. Just an iconic film. Peace, blessings, love you guys, and I'll see y'all soon. Please like and subscribe. It is totally free. If you subscribe, I can get some money.
Let's be a family.